My name is Mike Zuckerman. I'm NOAA's Chief Marketing Officer, and I'm going to overview User Experience Management Application Support Solution. NOAA is a leader in user experience management. Founded in 2003, we have products licensed to 20% of the Fortune 50 and hundreds of Global 5,000 customers. Our product is resold around the world by SAP, and it's called SAP UEM Application by NOAA. We sell direct to Oracle customers using our NOAA EPM product. There are four major solution sets, and we're going to focus on application support and the use cases it contains. We're going to look at the details of each use case, the customer pain points you experience, the benefits that we can provide, and the value drivers that make it worthwhile. We'll circle back to look at differentiation because we think that's important. Why can NOAA User Experience Management uniquely enable this capability in these use cases? Recognize that 95% of the user experience management vendors out there cannot meet these use cases because they do not collect the data that's required and they don't have the analytic framework in which to present it. Use case number one, very, very compelling, change management. Those two words strike fear into the hearts of most IT personnel because they know that 60, 65, 70% of the time, a major new release creates business disruption. And business disruption means that a line of business vice president is sitting in someone's office describing why they cannot meet their core business targets, cannot deliver on their key performance indicators because the IT infrastructure is not giving them what they need to be successful. And that is routine for change management. In the US, we call the first 30 days of deployment the hypercare window. And we try to put special process in place to ensure the highest levels of quality for servicing our user community. But invariably, it's not enough. And the reason is that the customers are flying blind. You don't have tools to monitor the performance of the user really. You really only can instrument the applications and infrastructure. And so user experience management gives you new visibility to user error data and user workflow that you've never had before. Of the data errors in your system today, you might see visibility to none of them. And of the total error count, you might have in fact 10,000 errors that happen today, but inside your remedy system or inside your CA help desk system, you might only know about 600. And that's because you only know about what's reported. With user experience management, you see all the system errors, all the user errors, and even the data errors. And this is a remarkable and new capability that really changes the way you can manage the hypercare window. You can see near time, real time, where the issues are unfolding, and you don't need to wait for the users to call you. Even during user acceptance testing, you can see the specific issues. You can see how they were handled. You can do before and after. What was the performance of these transactions like? And how were user errors before we put in this release and after? What's an acceptable level for our best practice and what isn't? There's a lot of data here that you've never seen before. This sort of flows into, for the IT team, putting a strong weapon in your pocket to manage the difficulties of service level agreement. The IT team and the line of business team now have a new weapon to slay the service level agreement dragon because frankly, service level agreements are always in contention. The user perspective is never the same as that which is measured by the IT infrastructure. And the reason is that it's not the same. At the desktop, there are things about network latency or even application execution in the browser that you won't see anywhere else. There are offline users. There are just so many things that can be wrong. And you don't know what the actual performance is unless you've instrumented it at the desktop for every transaction and every screen, which is what we do out of the box. Finally, if you don't know about user errors cloud the perception of quality of implementation of the release. If the user's having a lot of problems, even if they were trained and they're still having all these problems, then the perception of the user is they're not getting what they need from the system. It's hard to use. It's not meeting their performance needs. And so now you can partner, IT and line of business, sit down together and say, hey, respectfully submitted, we're having 25% more errors with these transactions across the board. user errors, and we're going to have to work to retrain and target remediation to resolve this immediately, because the expense of this in terms of wasted productivity is sky high. And then we have these 7 custom transactions here that stand out statistically. They're just having too many problems. They need to be looked at and redesigned by both our teams. That's where you get to with user experience management and where you can go with service level agreements. It's a very different view of the world that you can enable. And in fact, we would argue the only true view of service level agreements can be found with user experience management. I don't think any other technology can do that. Of course, the side benefit is use case 3, which is the efficiency and effectiveness of your application support team goes up very significantly when you use a user experience management tool. You can diagnose problems more quickly, you can prioritize resolution, you can just get things done. And the ROI to your team in terms of the soft business benefits for the efforts that you save and the hard benefits for the efficiency of your application team are quite significant and quite substantial. We can figure out what the problems are more quickly, and we can resolve them more efficiently and effectively. Application rationalization is an important area for IT. It's the notion that every time you roll out a release or you do something different, do you need all the functionality you had the day before? And really the test is to look at the life cycle of the application and understand the utility that users are getting from it. If you could see with Noah's EPM, if you could see with user experience management that these 19 transactions are no longer getting used, if you could see that the number of users has dropped, or if you could see for a new release that you're not getting, you're just not getting a lot of the action that you expected inside these various transaction types, that's tremendously valuable to you. And so application rationalization is being able to manage the life cycle of that application and understanding the state of implementation and the quality of the performance of the system from the user's perspective. Let's review the differentiation that comes with Noah EPM. Respectfully submitted, 95% of the user experience management products out there cannot deliver against the use cases we just described, and the reason is simple. Noah EPM provides a view of performance 100% from the desktop, from the time that you hit return to the time that you get a response. Whether it's desktop, whether it's mobility based, that's how we will function. Number 2, we don't just see system error, we collect user error and even data error. No one else has the comprehensive user error by major application that we have. No one else can give you a view to this. And it's that user error and the associated user workflow that substantially fuel many of our use cases. Number 4, it's not a scripted tool. It doesn't come with a template you need to fix. Out of the box, we provide support for major applications, which would take you dozens and dozens of people years to script, and we do it automatically. We pick up your custom transactions because of our patent pending automated framework. And so if you build custom transactions to SAP's framework, we automatically pick them up and measure them just like standard transactions. 99% of the other vendors out there in the user experience management space don't do that. Most of them are scripted. They give you a tool and say, have at it, good luck, go get that transaction. We give you out of the box a capability for virtually everything that SAP will deliver to your desktop. That's a big difference, and it affects our ability to meet these use cases successfully. Please visit www.noah.com to learn more about our solutions. Find out why we are the most viewed vendor on the internet in user experience management. There are many free downloads you can get. You can register for special materials such as white papers or webinars, and there's a lot of good information for you there.